So do you think it's fair for Trump to help, really take credit for this alongside Biden today?
Well, I certainly don't think that it is coincidental that these hostages have been released and that Hamas is backing down, knowing that Donald Trump is coming back into the White House. I mean, here we are literally on the day of the inauguration. And I think it's frankly setting the tone that America is back, that around the world we're going to be respected again, that leaders of other nations, leaders of terrorist groups know that Donald Trump is serious when he says make America first. That means first in the world. And so, I think the fact, for example, today that he's at the laying of the wreath at Arlington shows his tremendous support and respect for our military, and the fact that from today forward, the world's going to know America's back, and we're ready to bring peace, but to bring peace through strength.
Through strength. That's his goal. Today, Trump is set to speak at his Make America Great Again victory rally in D.C. We all know he loves his rallies. This is one day ahead of his inauguration. He's about as divisive as it gets, right, as political figures go in our nation's history. Not everybody is happy about his second term. Should he and will he have a unifying message today, do you think?
You know, the more and more that I've heard President Trump speak, frankly, all along, it's been about making America great, and that is bringing America back. If you look at the issues that President Trump's talking about, he's talking about things to protect the American people, whether it is from countries abroad, whether it's from reckless economic policy that jeopardizes our future. And of course, one of the main issues is on the southern border. Mm-hmm. And so, the fact that he's going to issue executive orders and do things, I think he's signaling that. And I think the American people, clearly the majority, like what he had to say, since he won not only the electoral vote, but also the popular vote.
Yeah, he did. And immigration and the economy issues number 1 and 2 throughout this entire campaign. One of his promises was to take action there on the southern border starting on day 1. He said that over and over. And reports say his border czar, Tom Homan, is now reconsidering immigration raids set to begin on Tuesday in Chicago after those plans were leaked. Homan also kind of laughing it off, saying, look, this is going to be a nationwide enforcement ban. I'm not sure why everybody's focusing on this particular area. But what happens, do you think, if sanctuary cities do not cooperate? Is there going to be force?
Well, number one, federal law says that if there are folks who are in the country, and particularly these who are here and are violent criminals, they should be deported. The problem we frankly had for the last 4 years is that federal law was ignored. And so cities, any municipality, any governmental agency that ignores law is acting in violation. Of course, we passed the Lake and Riley legislation last week in Congress that's now over in the Senate that would actually impose financial issues for governments that do that, as well as potential civil liability. But it makes clear that our federal agencies like ICE are directed to remove these dangerous individuals. So I don't think there's very much, frankly, that these any sanctuary states or sanctuary cities can do to interfere with the enforcement of federal law.
Americans are really watching for all these milestones and markers. Day 1, or first 100 days, first trip within the U.S. or first trip abroad. But the first one that he will take as 47th president, he's signaling will be to Los Angeles to see this awful wildfire devastation himself. So that's an area we all know that has been solid Democrat for a very long time. But folks there are expressing outrage over what they call a lack of leadership, planning, transparency. How do you think his visit's going to go over there, and what will the relationship seem when we see him alongside Governor Gavin Newsom, if we do?
Well, of course, along with the president, my heart goes out to all these victims in California of these wildfires. I think it is also fair that we need to provide them relief. We need to make sure these folks are taken care of. I can tell you that the delegation from California is fighting very hard, and folks are standing with them. But there will also probably be asked for changes to be made in the way the state there has administered things like forestry management, allowing, not doing controlled burns, not doing things that would have really reduced the spread and the fiercity of this fire. So I think it's a two-pronged conversation. But what I would expect you would see from President Trump is what I've seen in person from the man when he came to Western North Carolina, where he sat down and he talked to folks who lost so much and promised he would help, promised that he would not forget those folks. I think he's going to do the same thing there in California, because that's the right thing. And, whether folks are Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. We're all Americans, and all Americans are owed that.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.